Welcome to Astoria Film Festival Presents, our weekly half-hour program featuring our films, filmmakers, events, and the local community.
Okay, welcome to Astoria Film Festival 2020 virtual step and repeat interviews. Today we are speaking with Maura and Emory Parker, two creators on their film, A Different Kind of Animal. So, hi guys.
Hi.
So my first question for both of you is, can you tell us how you came up with the idea to create a different kind of animal? I guess that kind of leans more towards Anna since she is the writer, but Emory, I would love to hear how you both collaborated and like had your take on it and you worked on that together.
Yeah, so Anna, if you want to talk a little bit about how you came up with it and how we developed it together.
Yeah, so I had an idea initially because I used to work as a dog walker and I had some interesting experiences and I wanted to create a short film. And so I contacted Emory, I think it was September 2018, right? And it was a while ago, but yeah, and we started, I wrote the initial script and Emory helped me a lot with the editing process and the writing process, and we worked together. And then we ended up shooting May of last year, and there was a lot of different edits that happened, but basically it was based on a lot of my own experiences working as a dog walker in Queens.
And it was a really great collaboration. We had many drafts that we went through, but it just took a little extra time to find that storyline that would best fit Anna's initial vision.
Yeah.
Right. No, so another question I have, this also leans more towards Anna, but obviously your life experiences affected your creative journey whilst you were creating this piece of art. And like, in regards to that, how did it influence how you created this?
Just in general, like with my experiences with dog walking, I think, you know, I was trying to work as an actor and then also running my own dog walking business. And so a lot of my experiences that I had, a lot of conflicts just with people in the street and my own experiences with sexism and misogyny kind of played into this storyline. Yeah, that's basically, and then Emory helped me just focus in on what exactly I was trying to say. She is an amazing creator herself, and she helped me find that voice in that short film. So in the short film, yeah.
Yeah, no, I do have to commend you. It is written so beautifully and the message is so powerful. It really packs a punch in a good like 10 minutes. It's very nicely done, guys.
Thank you so much.
So I know this must have been like a big project for you, Anna, because you were the writer, you were also starred in it, and you also edited. No, Emory edited it.
Emory edited, yeah, but
yeah,
still,
like, writing and acting, it's like that's a big deal. So how was it like letting go of the script and kind of like handing it off to Emory and like kind of being like, okay, I'm not the director, but
yeah,
you know, what was that?
Yeah, I trusted Emory. I trust Emory with anything. I mean, she's done so much amazing work and I've worked with her before. And so we kind of knew each other's styles. So yeah, I think it's definitely after you write something, it's hard to let go and kind of just let Emory, she was really great at directing just the entire storyline, and handing that off to her didn't feel challenging at all because we had had such a collaborative effort before. And switching into the acting role felt pretty natural, I think. And, you know, it was a lot of fun. And, you know, me and Emory are friends outside of work. So it was easy for me to trust her to just take on the directing and editing.
Mm-hmm. So in regard to the, speak.
No, I was just going to say that the technical aspect of it is very challenging and overwhelming. So sometimes it is good to share that responsibility. Because in the past, I'm also an actor. So I've done all three at the same time and it can be very chaotic. So it's nice to have that collaboration and that shorthand so that you're still able to convey the message that you want to convey, but you work as a team instead.
Right. So in regards to like the editing process, like you were also the director, Emory. So what was it like to kind of like direct the whole film and then have to edit it together? Did anyone help you or was it a struggle? I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, well, I normally edit my own films anyway, or films that I'm directing. I've been pretty involved in all the steps just, it's sort of a natural thing for me because I've also been an editor outside of this. You know, I've done some stuff for NBC, for the Olympics. So it's a natural role for me to be taking on. But I do find that it's helpful to get feedback from other people. And of course, getting Anna's feedback during that process was really great. And we had a fun time also working on the music for the film. So it was a very collaborative process even then. And we had a few trusted friends take a look at it before we finalized the cut.
Great. So my last question for both of you guys is, when you finished this film and you watched it for the first time, and now you're giving it to an audience, what is like one message that you want to stick like with them, or like you want them to just leave with an idea in their head? Like what is that message you want them to have?
Yeah. Emory, do you want to go first or?
No, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. I think the main message was that I think I want them to leave with the feeling of sexism is still a massive issue. And it was something I experienced running my own business. And I don't know, I want them to leave with almost a bittersweet feeling. Yeah, that's a tough question to wrap up in one say. I think, yeah, I would love for people to recognize like certain ways which sexism still persists in a lot of just daily life.
Yeah, and I think also how Anna's character overcomes that. You know, she's facing all this sexism and criticism from multiple men throughout the film. And you may notice she's the only woman in the film as well, but you see that it's coming from many different angles and she's constantly putting up with it. And we see her take that action at the end, and hopefully, you know, save that dog. So, yeah. Spoiler.
Yeah.
No, yeah, the character arc is like so incredibly strong for your character because it's so empowering to see her like take back control of like a situation like that. And it's like, you're right, it's like the perfect word I think is bittersweet, because I finished watching it and I was like, oh yes, like I'm so glad that she like stood up for herself and she got Hamilton. But like it's still sad that something like that still happens in today's day and age.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, for sure. And I think that's it's kind of exactly the message we would like people to leave with in 10 minutes. It's hard to fit all of that into 10 minutes, but I know Emory and I work together to try to get our message in that short film.
I think it's also universal themes. It doesn't matter what the subject of it is or what the job is that women are doing, but it's a constant threat and something that we have to face every day. So I think Anna made a really interesting choice by incorporating into what she knows in her job. And I think it's something we haven't seen before yet.
Agreed. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in. The film was absolutely incredible. Fingers crossed we get to meet in October at the festival.
Yeah.
Safe enough for us to
Fingers
come.
crossed.
Fingers crossed. Okay, thank you guys so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have an excellent day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Today we're speaking with Brian Walters and Andrew Fegan, whose film, Zoom In, appears in our 2020 festival.
How did you guys come up with the sort of like idea? What was it inspired by?
Yeah, I actually wrote it on a train ride while I was in Japan. I grew up in Yokohama, Japan, so yeah, I had an hour train ride, so I thought, let me just jot this idea down. I personally was always inspired by the Twilight Zone growing up. I kind of watched it pretty religiously. It was always on TV for me, so grew up with that kind of stuff. And when Andrew and I hang out, we tend to talk about different storylines and have like weird twists at the end. And so when I pitched this idea to him, that kind of naturally kind of went along with what we did last time with Not a Hair Out of Place.
I think both of us kind of like, you know, kind of bizarre, surreal storylines, and we both like to have a sense of humor in anything we're doing too. So I think there's like a bit of cartoonishness in both of those films. And I think it's just like Brian said earlier, Not a Hair Out of Place was a similar thing where we were just trying to write within a budget and come up with something that could be made very cheaply, and it could still kind of look good without spending a lot, like to come up with a story that's appropriate for a low budget. So to kind of have no dialogue and keep it all in one location, and to be able to shoot it, both of those films we ended up shooting in the apartment that I was living at the time. So it was just kind of like, I think both of them, we were just trying to get a project done, and we kind of just went back to that student film style of like, what can we make with the resources that we have available to us? You know, how can we use what we got and make something good out of it?
In terms of the music, you sort of touched on it. What inspired it? It was definitely something that was really intriguing and something that like really added to the story.
Thank you. Yeah, Brian, he came up with the original idea that he wanted something that had like a dub reggae sound to it. So he sent me several tracks by an artist named King Tubby, who I hadn't heard before. And so we used that as the first round of the edit I did. I used one of his tracks as like a temp music and a jumping off point. But then from there, I didn't want to make something that sounded exactly like that. I wanted something that was kind of more spacey and synthy. And it was also like, I've done a couple little short film scores before, but for this one, since there was no dialogue, I was able to kind of go all out on drums and percussion, which is something I wanted to do, and have kind of a beat for the whole thing. But yeah, I wanted something that would kind of just guide you through the story and match the tone of it as it was unfolding. And there were like, you know, different parts of the story where the mood would change a little bit. And I was just kind of trying to go with that.
Is there any advice that you'd give for someone that's starting out in the industry?
Yeah, I would say, like we've been saying, write within a budget. You know, write something that you can do with the resources available to you. When you're still in the practice phase, don't break the bank on it. You know, save your money up for when you're really ready to make that swing, and just kind of learn the fundamentals. You know, like come up with little projects like this that you can just knock out in a couple days with your friends, and then once you've got those turning out the way that you want them to, you know, once the thing that you had in your head is actually coming out on the screen, I think that's when you ramp it up a notch and try to go for something bigger. But I would say just take it one step at a time, you know, start small and work your way up, and try to use those limitations as a strength, you know, try to get as creative as you can with the resources that you have, and have fun with it, you know, really.
I would say preparation is key, but don't be married to it. You know, things always change up on set. So if you lose all the prep work that you did and you get angry at it, you're wasting time, you know. I also think that you should be prepared enough with like lists and different things like that, so that when you're done, you don't have things that you missed, you know, that you're like, oh man, we need to recreate that whole thing and do reshoots and all that. You don't want to go through that. So just stay calm and just communicate and just double check that you have everything done. We didn't have that issue this time around, but yeah, I think that's
yeah, no, I think because it was pretty small scale too, but he's absolutely right. When you get onto set, like your brain is going to be on a million things that are changing on that day. So when you're planning things out, put it on paper and just make that like whatever your brain is doing ahead of time, whatever you want to be in the film, make sure that's written down and make sure that's in front of you on set, because you will be thinking of 30 other things on the day that it happens. And that's the best way to just keep things calm and relaxed and get your work done. It's to prepare it and write it down, and then you know what you need.
And what's next for you two, whether it be as a duo or separately?
And I guess like refining and reworking scripts so that when the opportunity does come for a bigger budget, that I can have my cards laid out and prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, similar. I've been working on some writing. I've still been dealing with the challenge of kind of trying to come up with a feature-length film that would be low budget and small scale like this to do first, and hopefully with Brian. I'm really looking to push more into doing more scores and music work too. I just set up a website for myself for that. So I'm hoping to push that out there. I do editing work right now, but I really love doing those film scores. So that's something that I hope is going to be a part of the future.
You know, we both live in Astoria, So we're Astorians, and I used to do, before the COVID and everything, I used to do a movie night called Sauce to Cinemas in the neighborhood. So just throwing it out there for the Astoria Film Festival as well, that we do drinking games and different movie events. So.
Oh, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Today we're hearing from Sonia Iacobone and Maura Bruno, who created the drama web series El Ever that appears in our 2020 festival.
Episodio 2x1, scena 7, Chuck 4.
I am Sonia and I'm level director, video operator and editor.
Hi, my name is Maura and I am level co-director, video operator and DOP.
Hi, my name is Jessica and I am a level screenwriter, script supervisor and sound engineer.
Lever was Elena's idea. She's also one of our actresses in the web series. She thought it was very important and necessary to create an Italian LGBT web series, but to do so, she needed a good team.
And in the end, she found us. Sonia and I were already working together. We made wedding and music videos. But making a web series was our dream.
Stefania and I loved to write, and when our friends involved us in this project, we were very happy, and then we became level screenwriters.
We think Lever is not just a web series, but it's a way to tell people that lesbians exist and they live and love as anyone else. We are currently filming the second season and we hope we can continue this project.
In the future, we hope to make also short films and movies. We have many ideas and stories to share and we have a good team to create them.
Working without funding is not easy, but we hope to find support in the future. We are a team, almost a family, and we love spending time together on set.
You can find Level Season 1 and 2 on YouTube.
But you can find more on our social networks.
Lever la serie on Facebook and Instagram. Follow us.
Hi, Astray, and today I'm speaking with Lani Cupchoy, whose film Urban Seeds is in our 2020 festival.
Can you tell us a little bit about what prompted you to create Urban Seeds and work on it?
So Urban Seeds is a film, a documentary short that we created. We launched it last year, 2019, directed by Adam Steele. Our cinematographer was Aaron Ryder, and I actually come out in it. And we have the co-founders from the Schoolgirl Movement, which is my mom, Eva Cupchoy, and John Garza, who's a retired teacher. Both of them came from Montebello Unified School District. And this story actually emerges from a space in Los Angeles, right? A very urban space. And this is a story about students and their teachers and educators and family members, community members who came together over the years and wanted to transform their schools by building a garden. And from there, it kind of gained momentum and started expanding in different ways to the point that it became regionally and state recognized by the California School Boards Association. And it's the first school district in the nation to have a program like this in its entire school district. And so this project is something that I'm really proud of. It's a very personal story. And a lot of the work that we've been doing with Urban Seeds is more about connecting this story to the community, and especially right now with how the world, you know, is engaging with a lot of questions about health and other concerns and food source. And so this is a story that really motivates and inspires folks to see the beauty and the strength of our youth and these generations who, you know, it's a spectrum of generations that have worked on this film and are part of this movement. Alumni, there's a story named, there's an individual in there named Miguel Angel Ochoa, right? He's one of our, what we call legacies, who's been a part of the movement since its inception. And so he gives a very powerful testimony to it. So this story, Urban Seeds, the way that it came forward, we weren't really planning to do a film about ourselves, a documentary, but it was necessary at the time, in the sense that we wanted to showcase the power of students. And especially now with what we're going through, we can see how people can very much transform their schools.
Would you like to talk about how people can get involved and help out with what you're doing and everything you've done in the film?
So the movement, we have a website called urbanseedsfilm.com. And that's a space where folks can see the trailer, they can see stills from the documentary. Every time we go into the classrooms, we have so many folks that they ask us, like, what can we do to participate? And it's such a beautiful thing to see, right? And it's not so much about becoming part of the movement, like, let me find the organization. It's more just getting inspired and incorporating it into, you know, their lives, right? That's really what the message of Urban Seeds is. It's an advocacy for people to take ownership into their own health, their own personal health, their own connection to food, especially right now. You know, we talk about how important and critical health is. It's a universal concern. Food is so important to our daily lives. It's our energy, it's our nourishment. And so the concept of Urban Seeds is about reminding people that our food and what we put in our bodies is really important. And it's not so much like, I know like right now, there's a lot, we're in a millennial world, right? And a lot of technology, 21st century learning, and that's important, but you can't eat a tablet, you can't eat a laptop, right? We need food to sustain ourselves. And so really this is about helping students to reconnect to their food source, right? Helping the public reconnect to their food source. And as you can see right now, there's a whole return to home gardens, right? In apartments. For us, it was a struggle because, you know, we're in an urban space. And so, you know, students didn't really have a place to, or the luxury to have big gardens, right? And farms, right? You know, they have what we say, they have their little plantitas, you know, growing in like, you know, little small pots, you know, in their apartment, right? And yet they're able to grow. And so that's one concept, right? Growing. But I think the more important part is the service to community. And so a lot of these students would grow and participate in the movement in their schools. They would grow produce, and then they would participate in farmers markets in the schools. They would rotate, and because Montebello Unified is, it's the third largest district in LA County. And so these students from all over the district would come together, and they would get to see who's selling what, and get to interact with each other.
So are you working on anything right now? I know you said that you were thinking about making Urban Seeds a feature film. Any like promise looking into that right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we will at some point work on a feature length, right, for Urban Seeds. It's going to take a little bit of time. In some ways, it's a very close story. Like I said, we just launched it in 2019, and we are writing grants for some of our projects. Adam's working on his projects. I'm working on new ones. I just launched Food Medicine. That's another documentary short. So I've kind of been a part of the documentary short world for quite some time, because before Urban Seeds, I launched Truth Seekers, right, which also looks at another story of youth activism coming from Montebello Unified and how they kind of champion a bill into a law in the state of California. And so the other project that I am working on right now, and for my feature length, is actually looking at ethnic studies in California, right? So that's a major issue. That's also, as you can see, I have this theme about social justice, right? Community movements, etc. And so that's a project that I'm looking at right now for feature length. But in terms of like Urban Seeds, it's there on the back burner, but we're collecting the data still to kind of move forward. What we are seeking though for Urban Seeds is you know, streaming distribution, right? That's what we're hoping. I mean, I guess that's what everybody's dream is, right? But I think personally for me, this message, more than some of the other projects that I've worked on, I feel like with everything that folks are experiencing today, Urban Seeds is a needed message right now, you know, especially coming from our youth, right? I think oftentimes folks tend to overlook the power and the strength of what can come from youth. And in my experience in education, and I've been in it for quite some time, I have learned that our youth can really move mountains, right? The generations, they just can create bridges when adults no longer are communicating with each other, right? Or at a standoff. And I love that. I love that beauty. And so I'm hoping that someone is going to take a look at Urban Seeds, you know, in a position or space where they have a streaming distribution, and they say, you know what, I think that this is a message that folks need to hear.